It is nothing short of terrifying to hear that the menacing undead knight that came from the Gauntlight bore the face of Krugga, a grim fate for the hermit we thought lost within the Four Logos of Absalom, and surely a fated one, after having read of Telford's betrayal during their flight from the Dark Time Hounds and a similar undead knight. Surely dark machinations were afoot to place these two back onto the battlefield together. However, it was Telford and the other brave Votari that stood victorious. I'm told that Telford revealed that the armor of this knight needs be destroyed to prevent its return, though he gave no such means for its destruction. Shortly after the battle, Captain Longsaddle and his retinue saw to the recovery efforts, and many helping hands took part as well. It was then that the heroes of Otari emerged from the vaults and treated with Telford before coming to visit me. Telford's strangely sleepy nature persisted as he saw fit to take an improvised nap in my entryway, where he gently snores even as I write this. The heroes carried a second lens of emerald hue this time, and I told them of my discoveries of its power amidst Telford's notes, including a magic similar to what was found within the Crimson Lens, something related to possession. In addition, I spoke to them of an oft-referenced device known as a fulcrum lattice that is related to all of these lenses in some way. The heroes then sought refuge in sleep for their weary bones, a drink to numb their latest loss. Poor Salucel, or Lump as they preferred, had joined the Fallen. And now Mr. Rawline is left in my begrudging hospitality.
So working at a restaurant, we've talked about food plenty of times before. Working at a restaurant, I'm constantly reminded of what people do and do not like, how they go about avoiding them. And I'm always reminded of one particular food that I absolutely do not like, but I wish that I did. And it's mushrooms. I wish that I liked them. It drives me crazy that I don't. Apparently they go with everything. And apparently most people love them. I can't go anywhere near them. If I'm chewing on one, it just makes me gag instantly. I don't like the smell of them. I don't like the flavor. I don't like anything about them. And it really annoys me. I don't like raw onions either. It took me a long time to come around to cooked onions just because I was too afraid of the oniony taste of a raw onion. I cannot do a raw onion under any circumstances. It just overwhelms the flavor.
Not even on a hot dog?
No, definitely not. No. And that, which like really leads into that horseradish, like hot mustard kind of like spicy group as well.
The Good Place?
The good
It really
place.
leads to all these delicious foods.
Yeah. Not into that. Yeah. But that's like a set of like flavors, like mushrooms are their own thing. And then the onion and horseradish and everything. It's like all there, but I really wish I liked them, but I really, really can't. So I was just thinking, is there anything that's like that for you guys? Is it something you really dislike, but you kind of wish you didn't?
The nori wrapping on sushi. Like I can do nigiri or sashimi or whatever, but as soon as it's like a sushi roll wrapped in nori, I am out.
Have you tried it with the soy wrappers that they have?
Oh, I love that shit.
Haven't. No. It's a texture thing about the way it gets cold.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Okay. I am a weirdo. I eat nori as a snack for funsies. I love that shit.
Oh yeah, like regular nori, sure. I'm all about that. But when it gets like that soggy
The
combination,
little bit of moisture
nori,
from the rice mixed with the
Yeah.
okay.
but if it's in like my ramen or like on top of an okonomiyaki or just like a sheet of it, I'm all about that stuff.
That is a very specific.
Yeah, it's real weird. I'm not into it. I really wish I was. It would make going out for sushi more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to make things difficult. But
Not really. Most places have sashimi or nigiri, and I can handle that. And like that's my shit. Like I'm there for the raw fish, right?
that's true.
That leads into mine. I hate seafood. The only seafood I eat is shrimps, and prawns and stuff like that. But same thing. And then also when I go out for sushi, obviously I don't get fish, though every once in a while I'll get like a spicy tuna, like because I want to try things and I want to like seafood, just like you're saying. So I will try seafood if someone else has it, but I just never like it. Our family, we went on boat trips instead of like camping and other trips, and so I would go catch crabs. We'd cook them on the dock, and then I'd eat like Kraft Dinner, Mr. Noodles. So I guess I've just been trailer parked since I was born. And and yeah, but so when I'm eating sushi, I get vegetable or land meats, and I don't like the seaweed, so I just douse it in so much wasabi and soy sauce. Shout out both those things.
Also a
of the
big
show.
fan of both those things.
Super weird, but I actually hate wasabi, which is typically horseradish in the States, unless you've actually like gotten actual real wasabi is delicious, but horseradish can fuck right the fuck off. After working in sushi restaurants and having to mix it from a powder and literally just destroying my fucking, like, if you ever want to get tear gassed without actually, getting arrested, that is the closest experience I think I've ever had to tear gas. Yeah, I want to like it because I love spicy food. I will fuck up spicy food all day, but there's just something about wasabi that just,
Well, the same. It's not the same spice. It's not like capsaicin. It's not like it's not that chemical that's like you get in chilies and stuff. It's something totally different. And I'm with you. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I love that shit.
I like the real stuff.
oh, I mean, I will. The real stuff is fucking delicious. It tastes nothing like the horseradish shit most people have had as wasabi most of their lives.
Yeah, and that stuff tastes nothing like actual horseradish, which I also really like.
I don't know if I actually. Maybe I just got scared off of horseradish because of the wasabi, like powder that gets turned into scoop
I
out.
think
Maybe
you would fuck with prepared horseradish pretty hard. It's like
Yeah, it's good
fermented,
stuff.
macerated horseradish. Fresh
Ah.
horseradish is exactly what you're talking about. It's like a bomb, but it's called prepared horseradish in North America. I think
Okay.
you'd fuck with it pretty hard.
Yeah, that anything fermented immediately goes up by at least a point or two in my book. Like I love fermented
It's
foods.
so good. Just that and some sauerkraut on a hot dog.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Take me,
bitch.
take me now, James. No, but I've said before, I fucking hate carrots and corn, and I don't want to like them. I don't. I enjoy hating those things. It makes me feel better. But I really, really, really wish I liked cake more because I don't like cakes typically. Like
All cake?
just I've had one cake in my life that I was like, oh, I would have another small piece of this, and it's a chantilly. It's a lot of fruit in it, and I think that's why I can fuck with it more. But cake in general, I think it's a texture thing. Like it's too
Delicious.
I don't know. I don't fuck. I'm sure that it is, and I will happily give you my slice of cake, Scoot, if we're
Carrot
at a
cake?
birthday.
What about carrot cake?
Technically, carrot cake's a muffin.
Yeah, it's not like a cake.
Well, technically, a Tim Hortons muffin's a cake. So what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I want to push back on the cake thing because there's like, I want to say 5 different types of cake off the top of my head that are like fundamentally different, but we don't have time for that.
Yeah, we absolutely. I would love to just have a talk about cake afterwards, but I'm just saying, like, when you think of like traditional cakes, like I don't fuck with it, and I want to because like I want to like have more fun at birthdays and not be the weirdo. It's like, oh no, thank you, I'm good.
I'm happily that guy. I don't care at all.
Fair.
I especially hate the icing on a cake, like a birthday cake. It's disgusting.
That's why I make all my icing out of whipped cream now.
Yeah, they overdo
Yes.
it with the icing. It's nuts.
No, I don't want anything to do with it. What about you, Dunk? Is there anything you don't like but you wish you did?
There's a lot of things I wish I didn't like because my guts are all fucked up and I keep
so
eating
you-
things I
yeah.
shouldn't. But I wish I liked kombucha. And
No.
I really don't like any of that fermented drinky stuff. And I don't know how much of it has to do with like taking a big swig of some terribly past date, like fresh squeezed orange juice one time and it went down real fuzzy.
Oh, no.
And I never really recovered from that. But
Oh, no.
like I just can't fuck with anything like even a little bit like it feels like it has vinegar in it when I'm trying to drink it, which sucks because I love vinegar. But
What about like kefir or kefir?
I don't know if I've tried it, but
Okay. It's
You know.
the same general probiotics, but it's milk.
Yeah.
that does not help me. Actually, I think I have had it and I don't
Yikes.
like it. I think I've gotten it at a restaurant before. It sounds like something I would have been like, yeah,
Let me try that.
I it's fine. I'll pay for it and everything. I just don't want it anymore. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I drank the mother once in a kombucha. Ugh. It was just at the bottom, and it like was like slurping back a fucking oyster.
So you you wait, the whole mother?
Well, I don't know, not the whole thing, but like I don't know what the fuck you call it. There's a slimy little boogie at the bottom of my drink.
Gross.
There'll be
Yeah.
bits of that in like raw, unpasteurized, unfiltered kombucha.
And that's exactly the shit that makes me go like even the best of it, I want none of it near me. Like maybe I can use it as a cleaning product sometime.
It's a bacterial culture called a SCOBY, a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeasts. And if it's on the bottom, that means it's dead. And it shouldn't be in the bottle in North American because they're pasteurized. So all the good bacteria is ripped right out of it. Anything you buy over the counter or anything that's like mass marketed. So if they've got it in, that means they've added cultures back into it, which is actually a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's eating a fermented mushroom, and that texture is not great.
The only SCOBY I want is SCOBY snacks. Am I right?
Freeman gains the second condition.
Failed fortitude to
Fermented
retch.
mushroom. Not to beat this dead horse too much, but what about things that like you can leave or and you take it or leave it, but like once in a while you really crave it, just randomly. Like I'm for seafood, I don't dislike seafood. I just don't really care, and I never really crave it. But like chocolate, I also don't care. If I never had chocolate again for the rest of my life, I'd be perfectly okay. But once in a while, I'll just be like, I'll buy that O. Henry bar. Why not? And I'll eat it and I'll enjoy it. But like, it's just like a really random craving for something I normally just don't care about.
Yeah, I'm exactly like that with chocolate.
I'm also like that with chocolate. I get a lot of it because my fiance bakes really well and a lot, but it like when I go out, I don't want chocolate. I want like Twizzlers.
I
Yeah.
used to never eat any kind of dessert, and I still kind of never do. But when we did do our D&D sessions at James' place, his fiance would make baked goods. Did we talk about this before? And I
All
would
the
eat
time.
shit out of them because she's so good. Like
Yeah.
I can't not.
Ice cream and chips are another one.
I'm with you on the ice cream. Chips I'll buy all the time.
I only crave ice cream in the winter.
Yeah, you've said that before, you freak.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I used to not care, but lately got onto the Ben and Jerry's, and I've been really, really into that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Try Netflix and chilled.
Like every now and again, I need a matcha latte like a drug addict. Like I just need it straight into my veins. But it's like once every 2 or 3 years, I just require one.
You're just-
Just scratching his arm in the line.
I feel like there's a third part of this topic too, because there's like things like that I discovered I love that I never knew, but I was totally surrounded by it when I was a kid, but I just never discovered it for myself. Like spicy food, my dad was obsessed with spicy food and would like. I remember having vivid memories of him being at the table, like loading his pasta up with chilies and like sniffing and like breathing heavily because he loved the spice so much, but we never touched any of it. It was never given to us as a kid, and then as an adult, I learned that I love spice.
There's a whole shelf in my fridge that's just different types of hot sauces.
Yeah.
And another one in my cupboard.
So
Hell yeah.
good. Yeah. But yeah, that's speaking of, and I have another one too, but speaking of that part of the topic, anchovies is one too. I had no idea how much I loved anchovies or boquerones.
Oh, I fuck up anchovies.
Love them so much.
Yeah.
And Scott is dying over there. Yeah. So speaking of anchovies, you've all made your way, last we heard, to the Otari fishery for some kippers on toast. Speaking of repetitive conversations as well, back to Otari fishery for some coffee and kippers. But before we get there, Scott's giving me another look.
I'm confused. Didn't we go back to the Gauntlet with?
No. Well, maybe.
What happened at the end of last episode?
Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a little recap and reset of our scene, because we were just talking about how a lot just happened in a very short amount of time. Basically, Ruff went one-on-one with War Chief Kerfell, which was a terrible idea. In the end, always a terrible idea in these games, everyone. Let's not forget that. Also, I was thinking about this the other day. I was reading something on Reddit too. I was like, what I should have done, or what we should have done, but I wasn't prepared at the time. I didn't think of it. Was instead of going like in initiative and just going blow by blow, we should have done like a mini game of like, skill checks, like a skill challenge game. So a lot of people recommend if you're going to do like a duel, that's the route you go. You don't just go straight initiative. But I mean, way too little, too late. Of course, we'll keep that in mind going forward. Anyway, the Ruff went down. The party ran away. Discovered some more information about what's going on in the Gauntlet, and it's about to be fired off again. And going to investigate, you found some lackeys of Belcora had taken up residence in Volok's old study, an office outside of the altar that you had originally found Lazel Vankervale on. And on the altar, after defeating enemies and Lump dying at the jaws of the Gug, you found Izori, who had been kidnapped after the explosion of the big magma room summoning chamber. So all those were interconnected, and the Gug was the one in the room next to the chamber in that prison level with the devils. And through Izori's choices, in a very mysterious conversation with her own patron, the mysterious spinner of threads, who is directly related to fate, as well as the Shaika being directly related to fate, that power saved Ruff through the sacrifice of Izori in this ridiculous scene that I wrote and had fun with. And Ruff returning to the top just in time to try and save Lump, but didn't quite get there. And then you all basically hoofed it back to the library, realized you don't have much time, hoofed it back to town, leaving Lump's body behind with Augrael. And then we switched over real quick to some NPCs in town, and we saw a reference to we saw the Good Sparrow who was chasing down Talford return for a moment into view, along with Clort and Narala, and then basically the town with these new people and these outsiders new to town banded together with the town guard and all their preparations and fought off the second firing, I've called it, of the Gauntlet. And very mysteriously and strangely, what fired out at the very end of said firing was a Grave Knight, but it was Krugga with 2 G's from episode 100. And defeated, Talford did not really reveal much to everyone about what was so dangerous about the armor before falling asleep and wandering off, meeting with the actual heroes of the Gauntlet, and then heading over to Morlebents to discover more about the Emerald Lens that Ruff had managed to get from Kerfell whilst being saved by the Spinner of Threads. This is all very intermingled. Talford falling asleep again at Morlebents. The heroes left, and I recall James saying something like, we're going to go down to the fishery and get really fucking drunk. That's where I remember it being left off effectively. But before we get into there, after that kind of recap, we've pulled away from the NPCs and the roles that everyone took there. I'm curious about a couple of things. With Good Sparrow wandering off to sort of follow Talford, trying to figure out what to do with the quarry she's been sent to find, Again, what I discussed before, like she's no assassin, right? She's not there to just like mercilessly murder someone. She's there to find this person who has betrayed some people in Absalom. Now that he's wandered back into town and Good Sparrow hasn't had much chance to actually act on anything, what do you think, Scott? Just as a general idea, I know you don't know Good Sparrow super well, but what do you think Good Sparrow is now going to do with what little information she has? Do you think she'll return to Absalom? Do you think she'll stay in town?
Definitely stay in town. I think that she would focus on trying to slightly change her appearance, maybe a new cloak or something like that, and just continue to pursue Talford and try to find more information, tailing him.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And having been left behind in the graveyard, where as the recovery efforts, like, you know, get underway like immediately, what do you think Clort does, James?
After he finishes vomiting and cleaning up, I imagine he's just kind of moving around the graveyard with the rest of the guards, just cleaning up the undead, you know, just having the time of his life.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and he just witnessed like some crazy stuff with the firing of that gauntlet. I mean, the stuff that Ruff went through to come back up, like in the whole effort of the heroes really saved the town in a way, or at least made the town's effort a lot easier to defend itself. However, they had to go through a lot, and they pushed a lot. So we want to keep that in mind. I'm sure Clort was like feeling the glory days come back again for a moment. What about Narala, who nearly faced certain death? What do you think, Dunk?
Oh, Narala will probably kind of shake things off pretty quickly, because that's second time that she's faced certain death.
Yeah, she's no stranger to it.
So probably taking stock of the situation, I imagine, should wind up the old mechanical hooves and hoof it on over to Galentine, because you'd imagine some people are probably going to be wanting to get word out or send deliveries back and forth or whatnot.
Yep.
So probably get back to work and head towards Galentine's.
And do any of those three characters report anything about the Grave Knight's armor to anyone?
If we were told, Clort would let Longsaddle know for sure.
Yeah, because Talford did sort of say something to
were.
all of
That's
you
why
about
you started stomping it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
okay.
that's right. I forgot you were stomping it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you send word to Longsaddle then. Okay, that's good enough. So as you go about your business, helping with the recovery effort, and Narala goes back to Galentine to help facilitate any information that needs to be delivered here, whether in town or out. Good Sparrow ponders what she'll do next and resolves to stay in town to tail Talford. Talford very inconveniently falls asleep at Morlabin's, but the heroes depart from the Odd Stories shop and head south to the Otari fishery. And as they do, they spot, various citizens and towns guard, bustling about. It's early morning still. It's like 7 a.m. And the recovery effort's well underway. It doesn't seem to have been hugely affected in the town proper itself, but you get this sense of pride instead of this tenseness in the atmosphere and all the people. There's this, you get nods of like respect and appreciation as you walk through, of course. They're still so very happy to see all of you still fighting. No one really seems to register that Lump is not there because they're a little bit too wrapped up in what they just accomplished. Yes, you helped them, but like they were out to prove that, you need to be there. And if you were not there, it would have been worse for them. You needed to be in the vaults for them to make through this, and they needed to do their part as well. And there's that sense of prideful community that's going through all of this. And you especially hit it when you get to the market, the stalls are opening up and there's chit chat and gossip flooding the place already. And you can see in the market, there's like some knocked over stalls and stuff. People are putting them back up, and there's blood, and there's like a couple of people that are injured. And as you go through the market and head further south towards the fishery, you see that this disgusting mass of flesh and eyeballs that is a gibbering mouther is like, it's dead, and they're like basically got hooks in it and they're hauling it down towards the docks to like dispose of as you approach the fishery. And with all this bustle, you enter Tammany's fishery to the strong waft of freshly brewed coffee and the pungent, delicious aroma of kippers and anchovies. And as you open the door, there's a big bustling, there's a little bit of celebration, there's a tiny bit of preparing for the day, but like I said before, the day is probably a bit of a wash as far as work goes. They'll get some will get done, but mostly it's there's a different vibe going on. And you can see that there's people like kind of patting each other on the back and sort of celebrating their victory. And then there's a group of fishers that are sort of surrounding an individual, like congratulating them and thanking them for what they did for the town. Cam, who is this person that they are talking to?
It is a female dwarf whose hair looks like moss. It's kind of a grayish green tinge to it, and you can see rings of different sorts of wood, from maple to acacia to oak, that are holding back the braids behind her head. And she has a wooden septum ring in, and she stands about 4'10", very stout, very strong looking, with a beautifully carved wooden breastplate that has all sorts of different engravings of like mushrooms and spores, and just they're all interconnected with thin lines that are etched in white on this dark wood breastplate. And she's wearing thick trousers that you might see on like a miner. And you see her feet, though, are made of metal. Like, they look like they're just steel-toe boots, but with toes. And she's just hoisting a tankard and carousing with the other locals.
Wicked. And so you see this hustle and bustle, and suddenly you see Tamley, like, kind of zipping on by with her peg, like thunking on the floor, and is kind of directing some people and handing out snacks and pouring coffees and kind of like it's just really wrapped up in the whole moment here. What do you all do?
So Harold pushes in the door, and his mood is melancholy, having lost Lump, but happy that Ruff is somehow back in the picture. And I think just after this most recent dive down into the Gauntlet, he's just happy to be out in the regular world. He hasn't been around the party that long, and so just to kind of see almost the regular hustle and bustle of life, he's very happy. So he pushes the door open and says, "Tamley, y'all got an extra table for a couple of us here. We're weary and like a drink and some food."
And she's zipped by and she's kind of over her shoulders, like, take a seat wherever you like. Go ahead. I'll be right over. Just like bustling and continuing to serve. No time to talk.
And you watch the dwarf woman's head just like turn hearing the voice, and she clocks Harold, and her eyes light up, and she seems super excited, almost a bit of a fangirl approached for a second before composing herself, and then walking over the steel toes on the wood, just kind of clunk, clunk, clunk. Are you Harold? The butcher?
Yeah, it's me. The Butcher of Otari. And what's your name? I don't recognize you.
My name is Beryl. I come from Glashore. The rumors of your hunts, they are well known.
Well, thank you. You a hunter yourself?
No, not as such. I spend most of my time underground with the fungus and the spores.
More of a gatherer then. What brings you to our town of Otari? Come from a long way away.
It has been quite the travel, but I have spent much of my time abroad. Being a person that cares more about fungus than the other things that come out of the dirt does not make you much for dwarven society, as it were.
They tend to lean more into the shiny things that come out of the ground.
Yeah, yes, or things that can be made into other things. It is a lifestyle that is not suited for me.
I understand the need to range. Feel the ground under your feet. Dive down where you've never been before. And welcome to our town. You happen upon it before the incident, the second wave, if you will?
Oh, yes. I actually was helping with that gibbering mouther out there.
Well, thank you for that too, then. Come and take a seat with us.
And she just gives a big, big smile, like, yay! And she will pull up a chair and is like chin almost resting on the tabletop just because of how short she is.
Yeah. Same with Nick and Ruff. Only Harold's the appropriate height.
And Harold's
finally
huge.
someone else that's a normal height.
Yeah, Harold, you would know, and Ruff would know somewhere in the back of his mind, in Ruff's memory as opposed to the Shaika, that Galajur, which was just mentioned by Beryl, is a dwarven mining settlement that is to the west of Otari. You take the road south before you get to Diabel, but it's a well-known mining settlement. And so this what this dwarf is saying to you, sort of really. Knowing where that town is, it punctuates, this dwarf's eschewing of dwarven tradition, and the love for fungus as opposed to the love for shiny things and metals, and that kind of stereotype. It definitely stands out, and you have some passing familiarity with that culture.
So you may know me, but have you heard of my friends here? This is Nurkaj. He is I guess you could say the leader as far as combat is concerned of the kobolds here. And this is Raphael, the Shaika.
Current host.
I don't know truly exactly what he is now, but he's a friend.
I don't know if I'm a leader of combat. I try to lead by exemplar, as it were, but...
Well, it is a pleasure to be meeting both of you.
If you defended Otari, the pleasure is all ours.
Oh, well, I'm not strictly a follower of Nagram. I kind of grew out of the Dwarven pantheon of faith, as it were. But I do adhere to some of the tenets of his teachings. And it always says to aid others to complete their tasks. And so, thusly, I am here.
Do you drink coffee?
I love it.
And Harold turns his head looking for Tamley. Tamley, 4 coffees, please. And make mine fancy.
And any scraps from the kitchen you may have, if you could be so kind.
And you can see her. She's like hand whipping whipped cream in a bowl right now behind the bar. Yeah, hold on to your horses, because like people have lined up to get like whatever the Galarian equivalent of Irish coffees are. She's like, just
I was
trying
going
to
to say
whisk it all
hand whipping
together.
the bartenders.
Hey.
I did not realize this was this kind of establishment.
Get to work, you lazy scallywags!
Coyote ugly.
We don't serve water here. Yeah, so she sends someone over as quick as she can to like drop off some coffees, and one of them is a let's go with it's a specialty coffee for Harold. It's got a little that hand whipped cream, and a little bit of orange liqueur, and we'll go with let's see here. Yeah, we'll go with some vanilla. There's some vanilla in there as well. And it costs 10 gold.
Seems right.
No, I'm kidding.
Would you like some avocado toast with that?
Damn, that is expensive.
Yeah.
Actually, what she instead of a riff on an Irish coffee, she sends over a hot drink that is made with sugarcane alcohol with fresh spiced apple cider. And a bit of vinegar with butter blended in, and then topped with whipped cream,
Yeah, bitch.
which is a nod to one of the cocktails I made at work. It's delicious.
Buzz marketing work.
And Tamale, if I could get the scraps, just anything you have sitting around in the kitchen, please.
Again, she's behind the bar. I'm like, what? She's right. Get them some scraps.
I'll get it myself. And
Like there's a server wanders by with the scraps on a plate, and then you just like grab the plate or grab the scraps off the top real quick.
thank you.
Oh,
And
what? Hey. Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah, Beryl will
Waste
just
not,
set them on the
waste not, want not. My mother always says.
Yeah. Beryl will set the plate down and just pull out this horrific looking mushroom and just set it on the scraps, and you watch as its little tendrils reach out and start grabbing the scraps and feeding it into its mouth.
What?
Oh, is that Gus? He does look amusing.
I've just shared the image we have here.
Say what?
It's this tiny mushroom with like 7 eyes and a mouthful of fangs. Like a red-capped mushroom with, it's just all knotted. And it looks like it's made of a whole bunch of different mushrooms,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, it's pretty horrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an alive mushroom
Yes. Cynthia.
Oh, yes.
on the table.
Yes. Eating scraps.
Now, Beryl, what in the hell is that thing?
Oh, this is Inoki. My familiar.
Inoki.
Yes, aren't they so cute? And Beryl will just like pat them on the head, and they hiss for a second before going back to eating their scraps.
A little on the nose, but all right.
What's on my nose?
I just heard of this. Yeah, I heard of this type of mushroom from far away. Tian Sha? Is it Tian Sha or Tian Shi?
Tianjia. Everyone say it together. Tianjia.
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 Wait, but no, it should be Tian Sha.
Anyways,
XIA.
Should be.
I'm from
SH.
the East Coast, Scott.
It's a shiitake mushroom, anyways.
yeah. The shit talking mushroom.
Ooh.
Hey.
Inoki speaks up. She starts burning everyone. Just slagging
chirping.
Just chirping.
And your little friend here, Noki, is it
Yeah.
just a companion of yours, or you said a familiar?
It is an eternal spirit that inhabits vegetation typically. It can come in many forms. There are gourd ones, there are leaf ones, and Beryl just lists off all the different types of leshies.
Yeah, it's a leshy.
Very interesting. I had never seen one like that before. He slides his coffee away from it.
Is that Galtan?
No, that's just that's the
Galton
name.
of
Yeah,
Galt.
Galton. That's
Oh.
just the name that they told me empathetically. I just said a bunch of names and then I felt a good feeling when I said that one. So
It's very fun to say. Inoki.
yes,
Inoki.
you are the cutest, by the way. And then she glances over at Nikaj. You're the cutest. Wait.
Oh,
There's
thank you.
competition.
Well, I don't know about that.
Ruff just tries to pat Inoki.
Inoki lets you. It's more bark than bite.
No.
Tree puns.
So what are you gonna do now? Are you moving through, or are you staying for a while?
Originally, I was going to move on, but it seems that there is many things that need help here, and I do not have much else to do, so I might as well see if there is anything that I can assist with.
I mean, the town will take as much help as we can get. Are you good with a weapon? I mean, I heard you say that you helped take down that gibbering mouther there. Where do your powers lie?
Oh, no, I am not particularly skilled with a weapon as such. I have my clan dagger still, but mostly I cast magic from the plane of elements.
And that plane of elements, it works deep underground?
Yes, it works anywhere that I have been so far.
Sounds like a winner to me.
Let's not be too hasty there, Nick. We should ask if she's up to the task.
Should we? We have lost so many already. Who are we to ask another to join their ranks?
I know.
And Beryl just looks back and forth to everyone. I do believe that I can be of assistance, and I would at least like to observe. You said you were going underground?
Down into the vaults. The Abomination vaults.
And can you think of anything down there that may be of interest to me?
I mean, there's many things down there that I'm sure you'll find very interesting, including all sorts of fungus and mushrooms and all that type of shit. But
Say less, Butcher. Say less.
on top of that, there's horrors beyond belief, beyond comprehension, and there's death around every corner. We've lost friends, companions, family members down there. We just lost one today. So, the reason we're dancing around this, and I agree with Nick that we'd love to have you, but goddamn it, it ain't safe, and we can't promise you nothing but the potential to come out in a box.
I am sorry for your loss, but you are not my first adventuring party, as it were. So I do believe myself to be capable of handling myself. And if you say there are all sorts of interesting fungi down there, then I would at least like to take a peek, as it were.
And Beryl, you probably would have heard a little bit about, as you came into town maybe yesterday or something. You probably heard a little bit about the heroes, sensed the tenseness in the town, and then even just this morning, you would have heard a couple of joking quips from the locals, and like, that'll show the heroes they're not the only heroes around here, kind of stuff like that, And you probably didn't quite expect them to just walk in the door, sit down, have a conversation with you, and then half invite you to join them. But I just want to say that you probably had a passing idea that there was people out there doing it. You just didn't expect them to show up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Well, can I say that the mob is fickle? Like, goddamn, dude. They're already talking shit about us?
No, but they're like I said, they're jokingly saying it, right?
I know. I'm just kidding,
There's a
too.
sense of...
Belcora can have this fucking town.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I'm out of
Chuck
here.
the deuce.
I'm the butcher of Absalom.
I'm Belcora's personal butcher.
That would be the Delaris, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you seem to have a new companion ready to join, but you've come to town to sort of take a moment for yourselves in the wake of the loss of Lump. You've gained some new information from Morleben about the Emerald Lens that you've recovered from Kerfell. What do you want to do after this kind of like little meeting of a new friend? How do you want to spend your day? Do you want to do any shopping? Are you going to rest? Are you going to go talk to anybody?
Ruff is going to rest. He is not feeling great. I mean, he just
went
kind
through
of
a lot.
Yeah, and he definitely blames himself for Lump's death because they wouldn't have been down there if he hadn't fallen to Kerfeld and his own hubris. So he just wants to enjoy this coffee and then go, I guess, to Arthur's place because it's probably the only place in town where he can guarantee that he'll be alone for any substantial amount of time and just reflect and beat himself up, I think.
Well, before we get there, did we talk to Ruff about what happened and how he got his way back? Or no, we just kind of left and everyone was sad and then, I'm just trying to remember, a few episodes ago.
No, Ruff pretty much came back and then the combat happened and then we all kind of bounced.
Okay, so before that happens then, now Beryl, there's some stuff we all don't know. So if you might indulge us a little conversation here. Raphael, the last I seen you fell to Kerfell, and we left you behind that wall. How in the hell did you make it back to us?
The details are not exactly clear as one might expect, but Kerfeld and Belcora herself were torturing me below the Gauntlet. And then, before I knew it, I was invigorated, strengthened. I managed to wrestle the lens from Kerfeld, escape their grasp, and as I came up through the Gauntlet, I passed a young woman that I used to know. And I think I owe my salvation to her, Izori Al-Ansir.
Which reminds me, I do believe I misspoke earlier when I said you discovered Izori in the altar. You didn't. It was in a separate room, and they switched before you even saw her. So this is strange, like thing. Only Lump would have known who Izori was, like directly, other than Ruff. So it's more of a reveal for the listeners and you guys than it is to your characters.
That's why Ruff's trying to be not coy about it, because Izori didn't mean that much to him. He had one nice evening with her, right? Like, and that was he counted her among his friends, but he's not 100% sure what happened himself. He just knows that he was being tortured, and then he got his strength back somehow, managed to get the lens, and flew up through the Gauntlet. And half of that he's kind of issuing to the Shaika. Like, he doesn't know how much of it was the Shaika and how much of it was Izori. But this coffee, this drink is dedicated to her and Lump, because he's pretty confident that they both fell to set him free, and he's not 100% sure why.
Well, praise to Izori or Pharasma or the Shaika, whatever brought you back. I'm glad to have you with us again.
Thank you, Harold. And I praise to Lump for their bravery. I cannot help but feel more than partially responsible.
Well, I think we all were. If it wasn't for Lump and their sacrifice, Nick and I probably wouldn't have made it either.
We should bring them to Vandy soon. They deserve to rest with the others.
Of course, they were one of the heroes of Otari.
Indeed.
And Ruff solemnly raises his cup to the heroes of Otari. Trying not to imply that we're the heroes, but those that have fallen are the real heroes of Otari.
And Harold raises his cup to the fallen.
To the fallen. And Beryl will also raise her cup.
Nick raises his to the heroes of Otari, and he kind of means himself too.
Of course he does.
To us heroes of Otari.
And to the non-fallen.
And to new friends.
And to this guy. It's Leshy.
I'm just going to say that you don't drag your friends to horrible places like this, so I don't know. It's just not...
We get together every week because of you, Freeman.
You're not my friends. You're all pawns in my evil schemes.
Yeah, just flies in a web.
Also acceptable.
No.
Yeah, I wanted to play the Animal Crossing TTRPG, but no, Abomination Vaults.
We very nearly were with all of the ancestry choices being like cute characters. All right, so you have your moments and your sort of solemn personal cheers to the heroes of Otari. Ruff goes off to Arthur's for some alone time.
Yeah.
What about Harold?
Harold will just walk the streets, I think, for a little bit before just heading back to his house to rest. And probably sharpen his blade and just relax for a little bit. But question, while he's walking through the marketplace, what's happened to Tulok's caravan?
Spirit Halloween.
Good bit.
I think last we saw Tulok's caravan, it was filled with the front was filled with like tributes, and you'd see kind of on the side of a highway where a bad accident was, there's like regularly placed flowers and wreaths and sort of thing, and you could see evidence of like some candlelit vigils that have taken place, maybe not last night or the night before even, but recently. But it is mostly, it's still in its spot, but there's a bit of an isolation to it almost. At this point, it's almost like you get the feeling that people put some effort into grieving for Tulok and his sacrifice, but now it's given a bit of a wide berth as life goes on.
So I think Harold just kind of casts an eye at it, contemplates the wreaths and the tributes and the burnt candles, and maybe ruminates very shortly on what that would look like in front of his house, and then just shakes his head to get those thoughts out of his mind and heads into his place to start sharpening his cleaver.
And what about Nick?
I guess Nirkaj would head back to the kobolds under the Thirsty Alpaca. I'm guessing they'd be back to rebuilding after catching some shit in nets earlier.
Yeah.
Probably carved that shit up for dinner. And I don't know. I'm struggling with whether he'd actually want to talk to the adamant or whether he'd want to scribble down a note just like letting him know of an appraisal, because he's still very conflicted about this.
Right. Yeah, because if you go there, like the adamant will have, I would say that the adamant will have had like told the other kobolds, like, keep an eye out for Nirkaj. If he comes, let me know, kind of thing. Like, that's something you would almost expect. So you can meet the adamant really quickly, or maybe you can like jump on that and be like, okay, oh yes, I'm here, but don't go tell him yet. Let me give you this note. Like, you kind of, I want to give you that option.
Yeah, I'd say on his way over, just because he wants to make it a quick, like, I'm gonna grab some Z's and then stick with the party as much as possible. It'd probably just slip a surreptitious little note being like, he'd think it was like really elegant scroll, but it would be the very childish scrawl saying like, you know, have contacted the dragon, still looking for the lair, awaiting updates, all that kind of goodness.
Stand by. Yeah.
Stand by. Find a grounding spike. If you find it, mail it to me.
Sure. So yeah, I'd say you walk up to the ruins and like they've built like a nice little structure over the top now. They've cleared out most of the rubble. The structure's more just against the elements for the guards post there to protect the dwelling below, and it's nothing fancy. And you see a scout there kind of guarding, and they seem really eager to talk to you. But then you level with them and be like, "Look, I'm not, don't have time and whatever." And the scout can see like probably some exhaustion in you. Even the scout seems kind of exhausted after the night they just had, and so has this sort of like understanding and is like, "Yeah, no problem, I got your back."
Yeah, I'll slip him a kipper.
Yeah. Ooh, he eats that up real quick. Love me some kippers. And any coffee?
No, I drank it all.
He's smoking a cigarette in the corner.
I can't tell you who I am.
Okay, and yeah, he'll actually like wave you over to like a little hiding spot where you can rest, and it looks like a little spot where like sometimes the guards like, a couple guards might know about to like go sneak off and catch some Z's when they're not supposed to.
Nice. Just a little rubble nap.
Yeah, it's just like a little like little clearing in the midst of like some barrels and crates, kind of like someone might hide in the shelves at Costco. Yeah. Trying to take a break.
Yeah, he's got a Chuck Mangione paper towel fortress in the middle of a supermarket.
When I was in my early 20s, I used to work at Safeway in the dairy department, and when I was really hungover some mornings, opening up at 6, I would move all the milk crates and make a wall in the dairy cooler and then sleep behind it. And then my buddy Brent, who worked in the produce department, those like kind of tables where they'd have like apples and shit in the middle of the produce section, he would climb inside that and sleep in there. And I walked past more than once, and you could hear him snoring underneath it. We were shitty employees.
That's so good. Oh, I love that story. And what does Beryl get up to?
I feel like Beryl probably just looks for anything to help with around town, and then just starts sampling sausage rolls from everywhere.
Yeah.
Such a peculiar town.
There's a new vegan stall. It's just opened up. It's all mushroom sausage rolls.
I was going to say, does Beryl eat meat?
Yeah.
And Beryl wears metal shoes, eh?
Yep.
Very 2E of you.
Be gone with those druid anathemas.
A progressive druid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you help around town, and I guess we'll fast forward time a bit here. What time and where would you have this? I guess probably pre-planned to meet back up again. And is there anything else anyone wants to do before we do that?
I'm ready to party.
I'm ready to take things extremely seriously.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I think that Harold would just make sure that maybe he would just go to the Dawnflower and try to get some healing.
Sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, the acolytes and Vanny have been quite busy after everything, but yeah, you could a couple wands are going around, casting some heal spells. You can get yourself healed up.
Can I get a hit of that wand?
How low are you?
I mean, I was at the 3rd.
Oh, okay.
And then I rested, and it didn't go up much, obviously.
Don't you have a pearly white Aeon Stone?
Oh, yeah. Don't you have an Aeon Stone?
Oh, right.
That'll do some of it.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, and then you rest, and you get your level plus combat and everything. So you get a little hit off the wand, and then you're good to go. And
You just wanted to go to the library, you
Messed up.
fucking nerd.
What time? What time did?
Just got a crush on Bandy.
What time did you guys want to all meet up again?
I think Beryl didn't get a note on that, and so just, figures like, oh, okay, and just like wanders towards the exit out of town to the Gauntlet and just kind of patiently waits there playing with Inoki.
Did you go to the Stone Ring Pond? Did you hang out with the other druids? Just
Yeah.
on the
Go say
path.
hi.
Yeah.
Talk shop. Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good tree you got there. It's nice.
Ruff will take at least 8 hours so he can sleep and re-prepare spells, but that's it.
That's it.
Okay, and then Harold, after getting that healing, going and checking in the library, walking through town, will head up to the graveyard and just kind of take a look at what's going on there before meeting them on the trail.
Yeah, you see,
Nick
it's all
wakes
it's all
up
cleaned
and
up.
brushes a couple pebbles off of his shoulder and, coughs out some dust, and away he goes.
Harold, you see that the cleanup is pretty much done, but like some of the like sort of barricades over the graves and stuff are still in place. Any undead removed, maybe reburied, and guards posted everywhere. Some signs of certainly some signs of battle. Some of the ground turned up, but the bodies of the monsters fought are gone, as well as the armor from the Grave Knight.
No judgment to the people of Otari and whatever pantheon or gods they're into.
They're out to be judged real hard, aren't they?
But you'd think these fucking turds would dig up all the corpses in the graveyard and just burn them all.
Yeah, I mean, they're all like friends and family, so
Yeah, but it's sure. But is it worse to dig them up when they're still limp corpses and maybe ceremonially burn them as opposed to have them?
It's a very pragmatic solution. I agree with you.
Scoot, if I could interject for just a moment, though.
Yeah, please.
There is Pharasma, and there is probably a lot of superstition about not fucking with graves lest you find her curse upon you. And so, there is probably a lot of hesitancy to fuck with the person's domain that determines where you go in the afterlife. And so I think a lot of people were like, zombies suck, yeah.
That's a good point.
But if I die, I don't want the Lady of Graves to be like, you fucked with graves.
Yeah, for real.
True.
That's a very good point, Cam.
Yeah, and even if I knew that shit was coming, I think how much I put off mopping the floors and dishes and shit, let alone dragging my ass to the graveyard to burn grandma.
Burning her corpse.
I'll do your grandparents if you do mine.
Yeah.
Just stop offering that.
Shut up. We'll take this offline.
All right, so I fast forward the clock to about 10 hours or so. It's now early evening, around 6 p.m. And if the heroes gather along the trail at a sort of generally agreed upon time, and they all sort of wander towards the Stone Ring Pond, and that's where you would find your new friend Beryl. Yes, Scott?
I forgot. I believe Harold owed someone a potion. Did I take a potion from Ruff?
Rough, yeah.
Harold grabs a potion on the way out of town.
Also,
Moderate,
didn't someone did I already give the hero point to someone who bet one that about the Grave Knight?
That was me.
And what was the bet? What did you bet?
I think that I just bet that it was a Grave Knight.
That it was a Grave Knight specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you take a hero point.
Yay.
You were correct.
I think you should give one to Scott for raising his hand for a question like a good boy.
Yeah, that was a very good boy. That deserves a pat on the head, too.
No. So you make your way towards the Snow Ring Pond. That's where you see your new friend Beryl that is conversing with Warlewin and some of the other druids. And Warlewin's, saying things like, "Oh, you're going to join the heroes of Otari. Oh, that is quite the endeavor. big risk, Beryl. Though I think you might be better suited for it than most of our kind. I think you'll find yourself quite at home in the fog fen, and no doubt deeper within the caverns that come close to the Darklands. A great many spores down there. Scores of spores, in fact.
I am looking forward to it, and yeah, it's good to stretch the legs, as it were. And Beryl will kind of tap the metal foot against a rock.
Yes, of course. Orlewin kind of like, eyeing the metal foot a little bit precariously. Like, I'm not so sure about that, but doesn't say anything.
Oh, Beryl is used to the judgment from other druids for this. Like, just shrugs it off, doesn't care. Is happy to have found a new thing to contribute to that isn't, the family forge.
Morlowin picked her side in the schism of the Druid Church.
I like I've never really liked the idea of metal being anathema, as in like so anathema that you lose your powers. That never made much sense to me. But I do like the idea of like, okay, it's a worked metal that is, going through that process is a harm to the environment. So we still try to eschew them as best we can, I kind of avoid that part of civilization, society, as it were. But, I don't want to take it to any extremes.
And I think there's the difference I think that Beryl would draw is that, like, this is an assistive item. Like, this is a prosthesis. It's not like she didn't go, oh yeah, fuck me up, give me metal feet. Like,
right. Yeah.
It was something that needed to be done for her to continue
and
having
as unfair as the judgments you get are. It's like, it's akin to like, taking your grandmother to a restaurant and your grandmother's mad that someone across the room is wearing a hat indoors.
Yeah, you're wearing white after Labor Day? Gross.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not really harming anyone, so it's kind of pointless, even though it feels a little bit icky.
Yep.
Uptight druids. Oh my god, no way.
Who could have seen that coming?
The ones that won't even let other people learn their language.
Yeah, so you head back to Yield Gauntlet, probably telling again on the walk back, retelling as best you can the story to a new companion.
Ruff also makes sure to charge the die before the sun goes down.
Oh, good call.
Are druids like the vegans of Galarian, where like you always hear about them being druid, and then also like the only other person you hear more about is someone that does Cortos Fit?
Oh no. Womp womp.
I mean, Beryl didn't, but yeah, I get where you're coming from. In stereotypical druid land, yeah, they probably are kind of annoying.
Yeah.
So Harold sidles up next to Ruff as they start walking back and pulls the moderate healing potion out of his pouch. This is for you, friend, and I appreciate using yours back down there. You've done a lot to save me, and I hope this treats you well and comes to you in time of need. And hands it down to him.
Well, Nick saying to Beryl, and then I was 25 feet tall, and I was fighting off 13 enemies at the same time.
Oh, goodness. That sounds amazing. I cannot look. I look forward to seeing this again.
Those stalagmites had nothing on the might of me.
And she will kind of like, just like, you could see she wants to just pat Nirkaj on the head really, really bad, but just like holds back. Like, no, I don't know him well enough later.
That's a third battle kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you make your way to the library first, perhaps to stop by, check in with Augrael. And of course the body of Lump is still there. The gauntlet swirl having, strongly subsided yet again.
What do we want to do? Like, the reason we left Lump there is because it would have been too difficult for us to get them back, right?
Yeah, quickly,
right.
But yeah, you were still intended on bringing them back to Otari.
Yeah. Okay, so do we just loot and then return to Vandy and just kind of hand wave all that stuff, or do we want to go through it all? Like, what do y'all want from Lump?
Well, first things first, you ought to be grabbing that crimson lens before anything. It's the most important thing to your mission.
Yeah, I've already taken the crimson lens and the retrieval belt because I'm selfish.
They're also just sitting on a fat stack of cash.
Yep. There's lots of cash. There's a trident of lightning. There's a staff of healing, greater, expanded healer's tools, armbands of athleticism.
Is there anyone in the party that is a healer?
Not anymore, friend.
Oh, if I may, I am very skilled in medicine, and I would appreciate the gloves.
Please do.
I'm what you'd call the opposite of a healer, so I would like that trident of lightning.
One creates them and one mends them. Wounds.
Yeah.
How many of us have them?
Do you want that expanded healer's toolkit and the staff of healing?
Yeah, I'll grab the staff of healing as well, because I don't prepare heal spells typically. The healer's toolkit, sure. I'm gonna grab the resilient rune at some point.
Okay, what about the moderate sturdy shield too?
That is an upgrade. I forgot Lump had that. I thought Lump had a lesser.
Oh yeah, no, you dropped the cash in the moderate.
Yeah, I
Sent it
did.
to Absalom, remember? Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, there's sort of shields. Yeah, resilient full plate. You probably want to transfer that rune eventually.
Sorry, did anyone else want that trident? Or
No.
Pretty much perfect for you.
Nobody wants the armbands.
I am not trained in athleticism anymore, so the only thing that they would be good for is somebody that is going to try to trip. Though they do help with climb and swim, so they're still useful to have. Maybe Harold,
I'll take them.
because you did want them earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, Harold's probably the best one because Harold keeps a hand free, right? Unless, except for the implement.
Yeah,
If you don't have the implement out, you can trip.
I'll take the sleeves of storage if that's okay.
Anyway, you ruthlessly and coldly loot Lump's corpse with nary a tear in your eye.
they'll be lighter to carry back without this stuff on them.
It'd be so much easier to carry them back now. Yeah. Bearing in mind that a lot of the armor is just built into their body, if I recall correctly, Cam.
Oh yeah, it's like screwed
it's
in,
like
bolted
integrated.
in, like yep, slips under flesh. So
The armor probably stays on, but the runes can come off if you need.
Getting that lens out is going to be awkward.
Yep. You gotta get real handsy. You gotta get real handsy.
You're gonna get elbow deep in this thing.
Find yourself a fleshy pocket.
yeah, Beryl can do it because she's got medicine, so she can do it cleanly without making a travesty of the corpse.
Without ruffling some weird internal feathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nick would have gone heavy fulcrum lever action and that just would have been bad.
It's already been flesh warped. It's not going to get too much worse.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
A parting of the abdomen.
Oh God.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, there's a kimono in here.
Oh goodness. What are these glands? There's too many glands.
That's why we loved them.
It was a glandular relationship.
They would always gland to see us.
Oh.
Quick gland handing.
Oh no. All right, so yeah, I mean, Augrel was looking over the body, is happy to see you again. Kind of helps you sort through some of the important gear, and then notices a new companion.
So quickly you find new brave souls to come down here. Who is this now?
I am Beryl. Oh, aren't you the cutest?
Hey, I thought I was the cutest.
Oh, it's a competition now. I'm sorry, boys.
That's so good of you to say. Hey, who's that little guy there?
Oh, this is Inoki. Inoki, do a backflip for the strange ghoul. And Inoki just does a little backflip.
And Agro's like, oh yeah, and he starts clapping, and like one of his fingernails falls off. Oh no!
And Inoki just does a little bow.
I mean, Inoki's a little freaky looking, but that would be cute as shit.
Yeah. It wouldn't be anything near as anywhere near as awkward as the weird backflip they made Grogu do in Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah.
That shit was awful. And Augrel's like super happy to kind of like see Inoki like prancing around, and he's like,
Oh yeah, you're like some of the things I've seen grow on my back sometimes. It gets real musty down here.
I'm sure.
I remember liking them when I was alive.
Did you say lichen?
No, but I wish I did.
And Inoki just like kind of prances over and then just sits on Lump for a second and starts. No, Inoki, no, that one needs to be. Do you think they would mind?
I think Lump would have found that darkly funny.
That's probably true.
For the listeners, Inoki is actually horrifying. Like, it's
Yeah.
the head of a spider
Really,
on the body
really
of like
is.
9 different types of mushrooms.
just go look at the stock fungus leshy Staplock artwork on like Archives and Ethos. We're just using that, and it is absolutely terrifying.
Yes, but you know,
But so cute.
I'm making it cute.
I love the contrast.
It makes me think of like a Skittermander from Starfinder was also like a fucking Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah, totally.
Skitter shroom.
Okay, so you've resupplied yourself with some goodies. Definitely some goodies. Lump had some great gear. And are you going to bring Lump back to town now, or are you going to wait? I'm happy to say that Lump's physiology will decay slower, just for the sake of expediting things, if you want.
Less about that, more about Augrail being tempted to eat them.
Yeah.
'cause- well,
But Grogale, not that Augrail wouldn't eat something dead. Augrail prefers the flesh of previously undead, now destroyed undead, and has a large stockpile of that to eat. So
That's fair. Ruff will actually push to bring Lump to Vandy now.
sure.
It just makes sense to him. You know, he feels not only pain and sadness, but an obligation, because again, he truly believes that Lump gave their life for his.
Sure.
And this is literally the least he can do.
and now they know they have time. So
Yeah.
Okay. So you together bring Lump back to town. I'll fast forward the clock a little more, and you go back to the Dawnfeller Library, and it's only then that some of the citizens start to realize that someone else is lost, and it's within the same day of their victory. So you get some, you accidentally shatter some hopefulness in some of these, at least with the acolytes who are exhausted from healing and doing so much work all day long. And but they direct you to Vandy, who then brings you again to the room where the bodies of Tulak and Physic are still gently reposed, or is it peaceful rested now? And that in that same room is the ever rocking and swaying feeble-minded Krucka. And Vandy solemnly, directs you to a place to lay Lump down, and lays a sheet over them, casting a peaceful rest spell, saying a few words to Saren Ray.
we could do like a Krucka face-off moment too if we really wanted.
Which one's John Travolta? Because we've already got a Nick Cage.
Yes. Oh. But Vandy turns to you all and says,
It will never get easier to see the loss of such brave souls. What you do below means a great deal to this town, and I'm sure should mean a great deal to the courthouse at large. We will persevere, and we will make sure your story is told, heroes.
everyone roll me, whoever's in that room, roll me a perception check.
Natural one.
25 for Ruff, but he does not like being in that room because he once was laid on one of those slabs himself.
Yep.
29.
Nick is so awkward, he will not stop staring at his toes. He thinks he just found a new one.
It's Augriel's toenail. But yeah, with 38.
Harold understands the loss, but hasn't even been with them for very long. And I think that he'll take some time to look at Tulok's corpse because he knew Tulok in passing around the time when he left last, but considered him just at that time just a boy who was playing make-believe as a fortune teller. And I've spoke on the fact that, he heard that Tulok became more than that. And I think that he potentially would know Physic as well, but doesn't have that connection, and had the connection to Lump in that they fought together, but they didn't know each other that long. So it's definitely a somber moment, but his connection isn't as strong. So he's just taking in the moment.
So Harold, with a 29, like you go over and kind of like look over Tulok's corpse. You have this moment to yourself, and you notice something a little bit strange. Tulok is, like the others, covered in a sheet. You're welcome to pull it back to look at his face. But
Johnson?
as you... That's so creepy. It should not even be funny.
Like 8.5
Okay, so
like
you
Lump,
can
like a
retake
dark
that.
sense of humor. No, it's fine. You reach down to look at the body, and you notice on the sheet, there are some like wet spots,
Okay.
like around the chest. Roll me a, I don't know. I guess it could be another perception.
I could roll nature. I could roll perception. I could roll...
I'll take perception. Yeah, roll me perception.
26.
It's sensing motive on the wetness on the sheet. Yeah, you think that maybe these are recent tears.
Vandy. Tears? What is this on Tulok?
She turns and says, I'm not sure. I did hear tell one of my acolytes led someone here to have a vigil over one of the fallen. It seemed well above board. It was someone who helped with the fight last night. Perhaps they felt a great loss in their sacrifice somehow.
I didn't happen to meet any of them. I heard that Clort was involved, and I met this Talford character, but he didn't strike me as a type that would be crying over spilt blood or any other thing.
No, I believe it was someone from out of town who happened to be here, but, carried a great amount of skill. Don't know who they were exactly. I'm told they simply wore a cloak and a mask of sorts.
Very interesting. Well, if you happen to find out any more on that, just let me know, all right?
Of course. I'll keep an eye out.
Just so I could, thank them for their sacrifice if they were friends or family of one of the fallen.
Of course.
It would be nice to meet a family member of Dulax.
And as you leave the room, having laid Lump to rest, Beryl, with your natural 20, you notice something that seems a little bit amiss. And for some reason, the safekeeping of a set of armor was left to Vandy and placed in the corner of this room. But it's none of your business.
Yep.
So you all head back down into the Gauntlet to continue your quest. And that's what we're going to call it.
What armor?
Stemming the Tide is an actual play podcast of the Adventure Path Abomination Vaults and is produced by the Uncharted North Network. Stemming the Tide uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Stemming the Tide is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Music is composed by Will Savino and artwork by Greyhood. Stemming the Tide is recorded remotely using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If you wish to connect with us or support this project and projects to come, we can be found at unchartednorth.ca, patreon.com/unchartednorth, and on all major social media platforms. Links to all credits can be found in the episode description and our website. Thanks for tuning in.